Microphone unmuted. Check. Okay, things are going well so far. Main image on. Check. Okay, things are still going well. Remove the welcome banner. Check. Hey, everybody. Got ourselves a check, check, and a check. Welcome to Half and Half. Today it happens to be whole and none. You may have seen the chat. Colette is off to the UW campus and she's a field marshal for today's graduation. So should be a fun event for her, celebrating with all the undergrads and some of the grad students in their big accomplishment, getting a degree. So what about us? Well, here we are, and let's enjoy this opportunity to work with our bodies. And my thought today would be to do sort of a hybrid, as we often do, an interplay of some yoga-based ideas, some Pilates interjected in there, and then some good old-fashioned classic fitness techniques that can help build muscle, which I think all of us can benefit from some time working with muscle, maintaining the muscle we have, and perhaps regaining some of the muscle mass that we've lost. So let's begin in that process. Step your feet wide apart. Then turn both legs out from your hip sockets. And then sumo squats. Bend your ankles, hips, and knees. And then come on up. So notice where your feet are pointing. They're not pointing straight ahead, are they? Where your feet point, track your knees. What that means is the external rotation in your hip sockets maintains as you bend and as you straighten. And let's do a few more. And don't worry if you're feeling a little bit creaky. As we age, our joints tend to dry out, but thankfully movement lubricates them. Let's do a few more movements here, getting that lubricating synovial fluid flowing into your ankles, hips, and your knees. Last one, down and up. Then turn both feet back to the front, and let's effectively do that same thing with one leg. Turn your left foot in, your right foot out, and then slowly bend, slowly straighten. Now this time, that right foot is pointing straight out toward the side. And that same rule of thumb, where your foot points, track your knee. So it's a little bit more external rotation in the hip than what we did in sumo. Let's do a couple more. And then turn back to the front. And then the second side, turn your right foot in, left foot out, bend and straighten, bend and straighten. Now it can be good periodically to look, because sometimes what feels like my knee is tracking where my foot points isn't always the actuality. And then once you take a peek, then raise your gaze back up and now do it by feel. Remember how by feel or proprioception is a big part of balance. Last one. Then turn back to the front and back to the sumo. Both legs turned out a little bit. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Little less creakiness. That's the power of movement. So next time knees in the bent position, let's pause there. And then let's work on our feet. Lift your heels up a bit. Then keeping your left heel lifted like it is, slowly descend that right heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch, lift. Now keep your right heel lifted. Slowly descend your left heel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch, lift. Back to both heels lifted. And now slowly descend both heels down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Then keeping both feet contacting, noticing what sensations you now feel in your body. And there's no right or wrong answer, simply feeling these sensations is part of mind training, mindfulness. Now, my body, I feel my thigh muscles right now, and I'm just noticing that I feel my thigh muscles. And then with the next inhale, come on up, step your feet together, and a few breaths here. So now let's do a little bit with the upper body. With the next exhale, bring your arms forward all the way up. And inhale, take them to the side down. Exhale, forward up. Inhale to the side down. One more up. Now, exhale to the side up. Inhale, forward down. Exhale to the side up. Inhale, forward down. One more up. And shake your arms out a little bit, hands too. And a few breaths here. All right, so let's build upon what we've done. Step your feet wide apart, pretty wide. Turn your left foot in and your right foot out. Inhale, fill your lungs. Then in sync with the exhale, bend your right knee. Knee bent, inhale. Exhale, tip your torso. Hand to knee, hand to hip. Then as you settle into the diagonal, I know a lot of people keep their head lifted. Let your head and neck line up with your spine. And left arm forward and through. And a little peek up at the ceiling. And inhale up and back to the front. Turn your right foot in, left foot out. Begin with the in-breath, fill your rib cage. Exhale, bend. Keep your knee bent, inhale. Hip your hips, exhale. Let your head and neck follow the torso. Then right arm forward and through. Little peek at the ceiling. And then inhale up, back to the front, and then step your feet together. So now let's continue the thread working on mobility, focusing now on hip flexors. Hip flexors tend to be tight for almost all of us. And when the hip flexors are tight, they tend to pull the whole body forward. And I know so many people try and fix their posture, quote unquote, fix with their head or their neck, but that's really the symptom. The problem is in the hips. So to help create more openness in the fronts of the hips, we're going to do the psoas walk. Bring your hands to your hips, then step your left foot back. And once you're sure that both feet point straight ahead, with the inhale, lift your left heel to propel forward. Exhale, heel down to draw back. Couple more. Then next time that back heel lifted, let's pause there. And then best you can, keep the lift in the front of your pelvis, your pelvic crest going up toward the ceiling. As you telescope your left heel back and down, back behind you, down to the floor, to help create more length in the front of your pelvis. This is not about creating more length in your belly. A lot of people arch their lower back. That's not the point here. Lift your pelvic crests up to keep your lower back from arching, to create more length or space in the front of your head. Then bring both arms forward. Exhale both arms up and breathe. And then back to standing. Second side. Hands on your hips. Right foot steps back. Inhale, lift that right heel to propel forward. Exhale, descend it to draw back. The next time that back heel is up, let's pause there. Keep lifting the front of your pelvis, chest held high, head held high. Then without arching your lower back, take that right heel back and down. Now, do you notice how your pelvis turns to face toward the side? In addition to keeping your lower back from arching, square your hips to the front. Then bring both arms forward. Exhale, sweep both arms up and breathe. And then back to standing. Let your arms hang. A few deep breaths. So now let go of the deep breathing. And we're going to take a few moments here to do nothing. Nothing to do with your posture, nothing to think about or focus on in your mind. Now, gently restart the slower, deeper breathing. Then maintaining that rhythm of your breath. Your rhythm will be different than my rhythm, different than other people's rhythm. So settle into a breath, rhythm, and depth that feels nourishing. Like you could maintain it without much effort for a period of time. Then step your feet wide apart. Turn your left foot in and your right foot out. Inhale here. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Tip your hips, exhale. And this time a little bit farther over. Elbow to knee. Hand to your hip. And once again, settle into the diagonal. Left arm up. And then toward the floor, turn your head and neck. And then with the inhale, come up and back to the front. Second side, turn your right foot in, left foot out. Exhale, bend. Keep your knee bent. Inhale. Tip your hips, exhale. And just like the first side, little farther over, elbow to knee. Then take your right arm up and toward the floor, turn your head and neck. And inhale up. Exhale back to the front. And then step your feet together. So no style points. We're going to make our way to the floor. Any which way, make your way to the floor. And then once you're on the floor, knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. So best you can, maintaining that rhythm, that depth of your breath. And maintaining that awareness of your breath, bring your left leg in. Then matching movement to breath. Exhale, lower your left foot down. Touch your toe on the floor. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Now, in my years teaching this, I find what people often do is they set the foot on the floor and pause there for a spell, and then lift it back up, which disengages the abdominals. So just brushing your toe against the floor and right back up. Tap, lift, and release that foot to the floor. Good things come in twos. Now bring your right leg in. And the same foci. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Few more. Same focus here. It can be really tempting to plop the foot on the floor, if even just for a moment. So keep that good connection to your core body throughout the whole duration of the exercise. Now, next time that leg is drawn in, let's park it there. Bring the other leg in beside it. And now we're going to do the same exact thing. You can probably see this coming with both legs. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Lower, lift. Last one. Down, up, down. So both feet flat upon the floor, knees still bent. Now let's turn our attention to the upper abdominals. Mini crunch. Start the mini crunch by interlacing your hands. By then bring your hands behind your head. And then initiate the lift with your arms and shoulders. Lift your head up. And pause here. So right at the crease of your thighs, right where your thighs meet your pelvis, relax. Because a lot of people store tension in their upper thigh muscles. Relax your upper thighs. As you relax your upper thighs, let the back of your pelvis release, relax into the floor. And then with the next exhale, use your upper abdominals to lift your head higher, but especially to lift your shoulders up. Mini crunch. Now I can look right into my thigh muscles and I'm focusing on relaxing my upper thigh muscles. We're going to hold here for a count of 5, 4, 1, and then rolling down. So now let's do something similar with a little different leg position. Bring your left leg in, then your right leg in. Now, if you want more challenge, what you could do is take your thighs into the vertical. Have them be straight up and down. Feel how that makes your belly muscles work? And if you want even more challenge, bring your shins to the horizontal. Then the same mini crunch. And the same focus, even as you lift your head and your shoulders, on relaxing your upper thighs. And now a little bit deeper breathing. One more breath. And then come on down. So that's been a bit of core work. Now let's shift the focus and work a little bit more on mobility again. So to begin that exploration into mobility, take your right leg and foot outstretched on the floor. Keep that leg anchored on the floor as you now bring your left thigh in good and snug toward your chest. Catch behind your knee. And then use your arms to keep that thigh good and close to your torso. And then that left knee, straighten it and bend it. As you can probably see for me, I'm saying straighten the knee, but does it straighten? Not even close, does it? That's not the point. Simply straighten the knee enough to touch the stiffness and then back out of it. Let's do 2 more. Touch, back away, touch, back away. And then switch legs. Left leg outstretched on the floor. Catching behind your right knee. Pull that thigh in good and snug toward your chest. And you probably noticed I haven't said anything about the foot or ankle. So for the time being, simply straighten your knee and bend your knee And keep that thigh bone pulled in nice and snugly toward your chest. And this is one of two primary movements. One more. Back to the first side. So all the same stuff, now let's add in the foot and ankle. Start in dorsiflexion, that's where your toes pull toward your knee. And then keep that dorsiflexion as you go up, touch into the flexibility. And while you're there, then move from dorsiflexion to plantar flexion. Now point your toes. Toes point, come down. And then right back into it. Point your heel to go up. Point your toes to come down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Now we're going to switch up the foot. Toes point, plantar flex go up. Heel points, dorsiflex come down. Inhale up, point your toes. Exhale down, point your heel. One more like that. Now, next time you take your foot up, keep your shin there. And now make ankle circles. Big circles with your ankles. This is especially useful if you have a history of sprained ankles. And now ankle circles the other direction. All right, then switch legs. Left leg outstretches, right leg drawn in. Remember how we started that cycle? We did it by pointing the heel, didn't we? Dorsiflexion. Inhale, heel points up. Exhale, toes point, come down. Now we're going to switch it up. Point your toes to go up. Plantar flex. Dorsiflex. Let's do one more and just keep our minds involved what comes next. It's ankle circles, isn't it? So remembering this, maybe you can do it at home in the coming week. So circles one direction, doesn't matter what direction you start. But keep an eye on that circle and make sure that it really is a circle. Because very often what we do is we skip the place that's stiff and exaggerate the movement that's flexible. And now the other direction. Nice and steady. What do you think, Ruthie? Do you do ankle circles twice a day? Good call. And then releasing that leg down. So let's continue in this thread of mobility. Knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. And then take your pelvis and tilt it posteriorly. And you'll know that you've done that posterior pelvic tilt when you feel your lower back on the floor. Then maintain that posterior tilt or even increase it as you roll your spine up. All the way up until you feel weight on your shoulders. And then reassert that posterior pelvic tilt as you now roll your spine down. I was working with a new client yesterday, and I'm always so inspired when somebody in their mid-80s explores something new and starts taking classes and sessions. And so we were working on this exercise right here and using the image of like a string of pearls. And so lifting the string of pearls, your spinal segments, from bottom to top. And then placing that string of pearls down, rolling down from top to bottom. Now let's add in the breathing. Inhale, exhale to come up. And inhale, exhale to roll down. Let's do the last one together quietly. All right. And then coming up to sitting. So in sitting, let's start off in a cross legs. It doesn't matter what leg is in front, but it does matter if you find that you're sitting back on your pelvis and or your knees are really high up. You might want to sit up on something. So let's begin mobilizing the uppermost part of the neck. Drop your nose a little bit down to your chest and then bring it back up again. Chin down and up. Now continue making that movement. The difficulty here is just like in the ankles, we tend to move from what is flexible and bypass what's stiff. And most people, their lower neck is comparatively flexible. And the upper neck is sometimes so stiff it scarcely moves at all. So you can probably see I brought my fingers right under my ears. And I'm focusing on making the movement from right there, from that high up. Now stopping that movement. Now, little turn of your head to the right, little turn of your head to the left. And we have the same conundrum that lower to mid neck is comparatively flexible. And upper part of the neck is sometimes stiff, if not almost immobile. So harness the power of your mind to move from right up, just right beneath your ears. Now let that movement trail off. And now, in a moment, we're going to make the twist, trickle down twist from neck and between your shoulder blades. Trickle down twist to your right. And let's take a few breaths here. And back to the middle. Trickle down twist to the other side. And back in toward the middle. So note which leg is in front. My left leg is in front. Which leg is in front for you? Okay, plant that in the vault. We're going to come back here in a few moments. In the meantime, now let's go on to hands and knees. And then from hands and knees, turn your toes under and move into yoga pose, head down dog. And a few of those same slower, deeper breaths. And then come on down to your knees. And then down to your belly. So on your belly, first order of business is to lengthen your spine. Do so by stretching your toes back behind you, and at the same time, stretch the crown of your head forward in front of you. Then as you keep lengthening your spine, then float your hands up and reach your arms back. And now with the next exhale, move into yoga pose, locust pose. Lifting your feet, lifting your head, lifting your knees, lifting your chest, lifting your thighs, and in time, lifting your belly. And then come on down. Place one hand under your forehead, place the other hand on top of that hand, and then rest your forehead on your hands. And breathe deeply. Couple more breaths. And then replace your hands by your armpits. Push up the hands and knees. And then back to yoga pose, head down dog. 3 deep breaths here. And then come on down. Back to the floor, back to sitting. So which leg was in front before? Yeah, that one. Now the other way. So now I have my right leg in front. So trickle down twist, the idea here is to harness the power of your mind to sequentially mobilize all your vertebrae. Start at the top, to the right, turn your head. Next segment down, rotate to the right. Next one down to the right. All the way down to, but not including your abdomen. And breathe. Back to the middle. And now trickle down twist the other direction. Down to, but not including your abdomen. And then back in toward the middle. And then find a seat, your chair. So quite often, Colette starts you off with a chair. And then here we are, finishing up with the chair. So what's that about? So I'm going to start off with a little bit of breath work. Deep breathing can be overdone, and it can really be anxiety provoking. But in moderation, a little bit of deep breathing can help free up a stiff neck, can help relieve tension between the shoulder blades, and can be calming. So if your chair back is touching your back ribs, scoot a little bit forward. One of the reasons we aren't doing this reclining is so that your rib cage is free to move. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. So as you keep breathing, where a lot of us live, the birds are really active. And maybe you've seen a bird go from at rest to spreading its wings to prepare to fly. Imagine your back, ribs, and your shoulder blades are your wings. Your wings are on your back, aren't they? Now with the next inhale, slightly spread your wings. Even if you're not completely sure what that should feel like. Make your best guess. As you inhale, spread your wings. As you inhale, broaden and lift your back ribs. As you inhale, broaden and lift your shoulder blades. Inhale. Now with this exhale, let go of the deep breathing. And like we did earlier in standing, we'll take a few moments here to not do anything. Now this little break is really important. When you're exercising and you breathe deeply, that's one thing. Your body knows what it's doing. When you sit down to do deep breathing, then oftentimes you take in too much oxygen. And then your blood chemistry is thrown off. And that is registered as a stressor by your brain. Remember, too much oxygen is oxidation. And I know a lot of you take antioxidants. There can be too much oxygen. So vast majority of the time, breathe normally. And then when you do deep breathing, do so strategically. Let's do another round. Exhale, spread your wings. Inhale. Now, maybe you've already noticed as I do this, spreading the wings is not my arms going out. It's more something that occurs on my back. Now, relax your neck. Remember way up high in your neck, that area? Relax up there. Couple more breaths. Now drop the deep breathing. We'll take a few more moments to not do much of anything. Now, bring awareness to your collarbones. I find it useful sometimes to actually touch my collarbones. And in a moment, in addition to spreading your wings, breathe into your collarbones. Let's start with an out breath first. Inhale, spread your wings, and fill your collarbones. Literally, your lungs go that high up. Few more breaths. Then exhale, let it go. Now to conclude, a guided relaxation. Begin by relaxing your forehead and your scalp. Who'd have thunk that the scalp could be so tense? Now moving down to your upper neck, relax there. And often surprisingly, the upper neck is higher up in space than your jaw is. Relax your jaw. And then the rest of your neck. Relax your shoulders. your arms, and your hands. From your upper extremities, now coming into your thorax, relaxing your upper back and your chest. And then your abdomen, relaxing your lower back and your belly. And from abdomen now down into pelvis, relaxing your lowest belly, your tailbone, and your thighs. From your thighs down into your knees, relaxing your knees, your lower legs, and your feet, tops of your feet, and the bottoms of your feet. All right. How's that session feel? Whole in none, as opposed to half and half. So any amount that you can do this on your own, whatever you remember, can be really useful. Don't have to necessarily remember all of it or do all of it. Maybe just take a few deep breaths in the coming days. But please keep in mind that doing extended periods of deep breathing will over-oxygenate the blood. And the body is going to keep those blood oxygen levels absolutely solid by putting more carbon dioxide into the blood. And that can then get the system on edge. So deep breathing can be powerful, but like so many medicines, the dose matters. More is not better. So thank you so much. Let's do it again soon, and have a great rest of the weekend.